Discover what works in marketing today as I speak with the author of the new book, All About Them. Marketing and branding is very important for any business today. And the way that you do it is going to be very important on how you approach it. There's a book out that I just read, really good, called All About Them. It's by Bruce Turkel, and he is an expert and a genius in marketing, and he's joining us now. Matter of fact, he's there outside. Bruce, where are you right now?
I am sitting on my back porch in South Miami, Florida.
Excellent. And with that wonderful Miami weather, you get a chance to be outside, and with the benefits of technology, we can be there. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's a great day, and it's great to be on the show with you, Terry. Thank you.
Well, glad to have you here. I really enjoyed your book. I read it. And matter of fact, you can see with my yellow markers here, went through and found some areas I want to have you tell us a little bit more about them today, because this is a really good book where we've heard it before. It's all about them. And the way that you describe it in the book, you go in depth with the reason why. You have some fun, some entertaining parts in there, but a lot of good information. And I want to start here with one section you got at the beginning that you were talking about a resume and how that applies and how people make a mistake. Where you're talking here that most importantly, people reading your resume are looking for someone who can make them look good. They want their supervisor to compliment them for a good hire so that they can enjoy their own appointments and you're in the advancement. And over here on page 13, I love this quote here. You say, being a successful specific position title here is the most important thing in the world to me. I will work 24/7 and do everything in my power to save you time, money, and effort, and make it worthy of your confidence and you have chosen for me. I guarantee that you will not be disappointed. You're saying that's what they should say. Tell us a little bit about that for those that are looking for a job and why they need to take that approach.
I will indeed. When I'm not writing books, I run an ad agency, a brand marketing firm, and we have 28 employees. And so often we are hiring people, plus folks out of school, people who are changing careers, people looking for new jobs, send me resumes all the time. Now watch this. You have me on the show because I wrote a book, but I am going to do my Kreskin, the ESP master magician act for you.
I like it.
Tell every person in your audience what their resume either says or said, even though I don't know them and I've never seen it. I don't know their names. We're going to fake that part. But essentially, here's what everybody's resume says, that first paragraph right up top. I am endeavoring to find a position where I can utilize my skills, talents, and creativity to fulfill my future and demonstrate my abilities, blah, 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 blah.
Yes, indeed.
Now, you remember that great cartoon that said what you tell your dog? Good dog, Fluffy. Sit, Fluffy. Good, Fluffy. And then what your dog hears? Blah, 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 Fluffy. Blah, blah, Fluffy. Blah, 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 Fluffy. Okay, that's what those resumes say. Nothing. Because the person on the other side of the resume, the person who is either going to hire you, or at least decide if your resume goes into the little bitty pile of the people they're going to interview, or the big pile that's going to wind up in the circular file, that person doesn't care about you. They don't care about what you want to do. They don't care about how you want to fulfill yourself. They care about looking good to their boss, to their shareholders, to their supervisor. They care about themselves. And what your resume needs to tell them is you will do one of three things. You will make them money, you will save them money, you will save them time, you will make them save them effort, or all of the above. That's what they care about. Why? Because it's all about them.
Absolutely. I think that's the most important thing to remember. Now, it would seem like also, because everyone or a lot of people know that, even if they don't do it, they realize it's got to be about them. It would be good to back that up with evidence. I can do it because when I was with ABC company before I did this, or when I was in college, I did this and this. Tell us a little bit about how they put some teeth in that and give some evidence.
Sure, you're absolutely right. Those things you just discussed are called RTBs, reasons to believe. I can save you time and effort. I can save you or make you money because when I was at XYZ Corporation, I did this. When I was at Newco, I did that. When I was at Amalgamated Amalgamations, I did the other thing. However, most of us lead with those things. We start with the RTBs. I have this degree, hablo español, I am a good writer. And again, unless they're interested in you, they don't care. It's like a car company telling you about the gas mileage of a car you don't want. It doesn't matter what kind of gas mileage it gets. I don't want it. But once I decide I do want it, then the gas mileage, the price, the headroom, where the dealership is, what the warranty offer is, those things are critical. But
Yep.
before I'm interested, they mean nothing. RTBs come after you tell me what's in it for me. Hearts, then minds. Make an emotional connection and then make an intellectual connection.
Excellent, Bruce. And of course, that works not only in a resume, but obviously in business. It'd be very important. I love what you say here, going over to page 168 in your book, where you say, savvy marketers don't talk about themselves. Instead, like the best of friends, they focus on the things they can do to help bring about their clients and overcome the negative feelings that they have. Tell us a little bit about that and how that works, how the best marketers are focusing on their clients.
Absolutely. If you watch advertising today, and I'm talking about the best advertising, and you can pick the companies, we all know who they are, the ones you really respect. Watch the ads. Here's a homework assignment. Watch them analytically. And what you'll realize is the advertisers do not talk about their function. They do not talk about what their products or services do. What they talk about is what's in it for the viewer, how you'll be happier, thinner, nicer, richer, healthier, whatever, depending on what you, the audience, wants. They are explaining to you the way their products make your life better. And that is like your best friend. Your best friend that you like spending time with is the person who says, hey, what's going on with you? Now, you know, when you meet people on the street, they say, hey, how you doing? And you answer, fine, how are you? And that's the entire conversation, because they don't actually care. But your best friend says to you, hey, Terry, how you doing? No, really tell me how you doing. That thing that happened last week, how's that making you feel? How's that, your kid just graduated or you just bought that new car? How's that going? How about that new contract you got? And when they say those things, what you realize is that you matter to them. What you realize is they have your best interests at heart. Best advertisers do it as well. They can't be exactly that personal, although technology is getting us closer to that day, but they can show you how their product or their services help you accomplish what you want to accomplish.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I want to go even more in depth on that from what you say, where we are right now. As you and I were talking before we started the interview, you're right there at home. And we had to move around a little bit, find what's going to work best. But people like getting a chance to know you. I mean, we're actually seeing you there at home. We're actually seeing it. And we talked about this as well. If, say, the dog comes by or something happens, that we can roll with it. Tell us how knowing that part of you, a little more intimacy, is important in marketing.
Oh, it's critical. The old days, you had this monolithic company that you did business with, and communication was only one direction. Companies could talk to consumers. Consumers could not talk to companies. Yeah, you could write a letter, thank you, I loved your product, or I had a terrible experience, but that was the extent of it. But now, conversation goes both ways. I can talk to the company, and by the way, I can talk to the rest of the world about the company. And so what needs to happen is that personalization needs to become part of what companies do, because the way you talk to companies and they talk back to you is the same way that you talk to friends and family members. So you and I, besides doing interviews, happen to be friends. I have been interviewed by a bunch of people, a lot of whom I don't know, but you I've known for years. I've been to your place, you've been to my place. When you said to me, I'm going to close the window because we might have a rainstorm, I know what your place looks like. I know the view. I've stood on that balcony. We had a shorter conversation about the details because we've had that mutual experience. That mutual experience is what makes me think, I know Terry's going to do an awesome interview. Again, he has my best interest at heart. So if I'm sitting here on my back porch and Marley or Bailey, one of my two dogs, comes and jumps on top of me, old days, they would have cut that out. Oh, cut. They would have clicked that thing and they would have edited it out. But today, what does it tell the viewers? Oh, this guy has some dogs. Oh, he likes dogs. What kind of dogs are they? What are their names? Oh, look how cute they are. Wait, one looks young, one looks old. What's going on there? It builds relationship. I'm not suggesting you say the things in public that you wouldn't even say in private. Nobody wants to go that deep into your personal life. But the idea that it's in my home, that I have these dogs, that one of them might bark, it just makes the relationship, the experience better.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's probably, it would seem like it's controlled exposure, that you expose a little bit of it. We're seeing some, and obviously we're finding out and redefining the terms of what we can do and what we can't do. But again, we go back, and I think if we focus on what you're saying in the book, I mean, the title really says it. It's all about them. What can you do to enhance their experience with you, your product, your service, etc.? Would you agree with that?
I absolutely agree with that. I mean, I'll give you an example. When I speak to an audience, one of the things I'll mention, I tell a story about my wife's grandmother. My wife's grandmother lived with us for 8 years, and she had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and we took care of her in the last years of her life. Well, my aunt's grandmother came from Cuba. I'm sorry, my wife's grandmother. I don't know why I said my aunt. My wife's grandmother came from Cuba, never spoke a word of English. And her nickname in our house for grandmother in Spanish is abuela. When I speak to an audience, I tell a story about her. And one of the things I'll say is, so I went downstairs and I said, abuela, would you like some coffee? Now, if you speak Spanish, you hear abuela and you look up. You're kind of like those little prairie dogs, right? You pop up and you go,
yeah, exactly.
He just spoke Spanish. He gets me. One of us. He knows Spanish. If you don't speak Spanish, the word abuela doesn't mean anything. It just goes over you. You might think it was a nickname. You might think it was a term of endearment. But that word, one word, creates a connection. I'm telling a story about my grandfather, and I'll say, and my papa Hai said, it's all right, just do it, because he had a Yiddish accent from Eastern Europe. Well, anyone who has family from Eastern Europe, whether they're Jewish or Polish or Russian or whatever, they hear that and they go, oh. If you don't, then you just think, oh, that was an accent his grandfather had. But it allows me to build a better rapport with people in my audience because they understand that I know them, I'm like them, I understand them. That's where the relationship gets started.
Absolutely, absolutely. You talk about that in many different ways throughout the book. I really enjoy that. And one of the things you talked about I thought was particularly good is on page 186, you talk about a time when you were on Bill O'Reilly's show, The Factor, on Fox News, which is a very controversial thing. I love the way you say it in the book. People either love him or hate him. You know, it's usually pretty defining. And what he did to you, and the way that you describe it is you show a way that we can take even a negative situation and turn it into a positive. Again, we're not talking about any of the politics and whether you as a viewer watching this, whether you like or don't like him, think about how you can use this in business. And Bruce, you mentioned over on page 247, where you say the benefit of being on the show derived from being right there and being with him in the first place. O'Reilly expressed his authentic truth. I expressed some, and we both benefited from the exchange. What you talked about there is even taking a negative, turning it around to be about them so that both benefit from that. Tell us a little bit more about how we can do that in business.
Sure. What happened was, as you said, it's a transaction. He's going to have me on the show as an expert. He's then going to disagree with me and beat me up. So you would say, oh my God, why would you go on that show to get beaten up? Well, first of all, 3 million people watch it. Second of all, the fact that he beats me up because he disagrees with me doesn't mean I'm wrong. It means he wants people to think it means I'm wrong because that fits with who he is. But it benefits me to be iconoclast, to be on the show, to be demonstrating who I am, what I know. Now, here's the funny thing. At one point, O'Reilly turned to me and he said, I said something and he said, Mr. Turkel, you were wrong twice, but that was brilliant. And I have put that little clip of video into every new business pitch I do. And I run that video where Bill O'Reilly tells me I was wrong twice. It's a negative. And what does the potential client say? You know Bill O'Reilly? I say, well, I don't actually know him. I've been on the show now. I've been on a few times. I've been on the show with him. I wouldn't say we're friends, but yeah, what's he like? And then we talk about it. But the bigger picture is it establishes my credibility. Even though he said I was wrong twice, still I'm the expert he brought on the show. And lots of us have these experiences. We have experiences where something happened. It didn't turn out the way we wanted it to turn out. However, if you look at the bigger picture, what you'll find is that the message it says about you confirms who you want to be. The big difference, and it's a big paradigm shift, although it's a very simple change, but quite profound, is we need to move from content meaning what I said on the show, what you write in a book, what you write in an article, what you post online, content, things. We need to move from content to context. What was the content of that conversation? I said some things and O'Reilly said I was wrong. What's the context? I am enough of an expert. I am important enough in my field to be sitting next to Bill O'Reilly, for him to be questioning me, for him to telling me I'm wrong, for me to be saying back to him, I don't think so, Bill, and let me tell you why. Move from content to context. And a lot of these situations, which might have seemed like bad situations, all of a sudden are really very, very useful.
I like that. And I think that's a great way to pivot. You can take whatever might be a negative and savvy enough, focusing again on them, because it is all about them, as the book says. You're able to take whatever negative might be there, turn it around to something positive, and then really it comes back to benefiting you. And that's the beauty of what you mentioned in the book also. They're doing this about them because really that's the way you get ahead. It's the irony of life.
You're absolutely right. It's why the tagline to the book is build your business by focusing on others.
Yep. And the book is something that those of you that are watching this, you've gone, yeah, okay, we've heard it before. We need to focus on the others. But what you get in this book is not only the reminder that's very necessary, but way beyond that. Bruce goes into detail of how you can use this in many different situations, how others have done it. And just that one example there with Bill O'Reilly. Think about where you could have been, your business could have been in a very negative situation. What to do to pivot that so that now you're benefiting that other person, even someone that might be trying to attack you, and turn it into a positive for you and for them. Bruce, you've done a marvelous job on this. I really enjoyed reading the book, went through it twice, matter of fact, and loved what you said there. Someone says, hey, I want to find out more about the book, want to find out more about this Bruce Turkel guy. How do they get in touch with you?
It's so easy. You want to find out more about the book, just go to my website. It's my name, bruceturkel.com, and you can see about the book. There's some excerpts. You can also see I've been writing blog posts on this for a number of years. You could see lots of Fox interviews, including Bill O'Reilly, CNN. I mean, I'm on TV all the time. Or do what I'd rather you do, which is just go to Amazon and buy the book. It's titled All About Them. And here's even more important thing. If you buy the book, read the book, and like the book, post a review, please, because I really think there's stuff here that can help people if they read it. I tried very hard not to write only a why to. Most business books are why to. Here's why you should be doing something. I tried to write a how to and a what to. Here's how you can do it, and here's what you need to do. I really respect and appreciate that you noticed that when you read it, Terry, and I'd love if your audience would do the same.
Well, you bet. And by the way, for those of you listening on audio, very slowly, might not have English as their first language, real slowly spell out your website so they can find that.
Thank you. I'd be delighted. It's my first name, Bruce, B-R-U-C-E, last name, Turkel, Turkel.com.
Very good. All right, Bruce, again, a great job. And for those of you watching this is a book that I highly recommend that you get because you're going to put a few coins into it. But do that because then you're going to be able to take your career, your personal life as well, and move it up to the next level as you are consciously aware of and finding ways too from Bruce's what and how as well as the why so that you can make your life and your business a lot better. Bruce Turkel, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you very much.
We'll leave it at that. I'm Terry Brock with terrybrock.com, and thank you very much for joining us today.